What's going on the Winners Win podcast? Your boy Loso 2.0, the copycat himself. Um, and today we're gonna start talking about using emphasis in your public speaking. Now, before I get into that, you guys know how I like to do. I like to give you guys little updates on everything in my life. Now, I've already done an episode today where I kind of went into detail on my basketball journey and how I felt so good I felt so good today as I was starting to get back into the flow, starting getting back to my second wind and starting a little bit be more better as far as playmaking and ball handling, things like that. Starting to get all that stuff back and being a lot more fundamental, cutting to the basket, finishing. Now, I wasn't making as many jump shots today. I didn't shoot as many jump shots today, but then again, that will come back tomorrow, throughout the week as I keep working on my game. And then by next Sunday, I should be all good. So that's as far as like my athletic stuff goes. As far as my business goes, I actually didn't talk about this before. I need to start working on my back cover. So the back cover, I was kind of talking to my publisher about. She told me, gave me an idea to use Canva. Definitely something I need help with my wife with. She is a master at Canva. And I mean that because she literally created her website off of that, created business cards off of that, logos, whatever. She really mastered Canva to a degree that it's just amazing. It really does amaze me. So that's something that I'm definitely gonna keep working on. As I stated before, tomorrow's gonna be my first day at my new position, at my new job. So that's actually very exciting that I get to do that because, as you guys know, before I left a very dangerous, very negative type of environment. I don't want to see anyone go through something like that at all. As far as that goes, bang, bang, bang. And really, yeah, let's just kind of go into, the emphasis that they were talking about in the book, using emphasis in your public speaking. Now, there's this idea of a thing called monotony. Monotony really is the idea of just having a single tone of voice, which makes your speeches boring and not as engaging just by keeping one pitch we're going to talk about probably in another episode. We talk about the idea of no emphasis. We talk about the idea of just having a good general flow, actually know what you're talking about, having good ideas. This book of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie really is, it's legendary, to be honest with you. This book is really a class, honestly, on how to public speak, to be quite honest with you, because it has so many ideas that I'm grasping from it that I'm going to teach you guys as well as I'm learning as well. Because the only true way to really learn something is to teach it to somebody else. You can sit there, you can read it, you can study it all you want, but teaching it is what separates someone from really learning new ideas. And then, of course, there's always doing it and learning from your experience. Now, tomorrow, too, as well, I'm going to give William Penn a call again, and I may try to call, and my goal is to call another school up tomorrow to see pretty much what's going on, or maybe we see if I can get transferred over to the principal, because I want to be able to outreach and actually be able to talk my stuff to a school, man. I'm trying to get out there and help with this mental health thing in the African American, Afro Latino community, man. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, let's get into emphasis. So the use of emphasis on any type of speech pretty much keeps it more engaging and not as boring. Because let's just say I talk like this the entire speech. You probably would be, no, let me reverse that back. You would definitely be bored and annoyed at the way I was speaking if I only spoke at one type of tone, or I did another one. And that goes back to voice pitching, and it's crazy. I'm really not trying to get into the change of voice pitch so soon, but it's just the idea of it all kind of wraps together though. But you want to learn to emphasize. So thinking about a word, right? Okay. Think about a word as like Massachusetts. Think about a word like Massachusetts. You know, when you say Massachusetts, chew, the syllable chew in Massachusetts, you emphasize that one. I don't know why we do it, but it's just something that's emphasized in when we speak it, right? Look at a sentence as one big word. When you're speaking a sentence as one big word, you have to pick one thing out of the entire sentence to emphasize that's based on importance. And you see, when I said pick on one thing, right? I said one with emphasis. I changed my pitch of voice to emphasize that one. So when you're speaking, you have to change different, you have to pick, decide on which words to emphasize and which ones to kind of just let go with the flow. And there's different ways to do that, which if you continue to watch this episode on YouTube, you'll get. But see, emphasis it really comes down to contrast. Thinking about what idea are you trying to show, right? So there was actually an idea in here. Hold on. Let me get you on it. This one is tough. Hold on. This one really got me, right? I love this. Okay, so this is the sentence. The sentence is, I intended to buy a house this spring. Now, based off of each part that you emphasize goes to which idea you're trying to emphasize, right? If you say, I intended to buy a house this spring, even if you did not, is what you're emphasizing. I intended to buy a house this spring means that you were going to, but something prevented you from doing it because I emphasized intended. I intended to buy a house this spring. Emphasize that you're trying to buy a house, but you're not trying to rent it. I intended to buy a house this spring means you're emphasizing the importance of you're trying to buy a house and not that you're trying to buy something else, like an automobile. I intended to buy a house this spring is emphasizing that you want to get a house now, like this spring and not next spring. I intended to buy a house this spring means that you want to do it in spring instead of autumn. So you see how what you emphasize in, depending on which part of the sentence you emphasize, is the one that you're emphasizing of importance, but that's because you're contrasting another idea, right? If I said, I love basketball, I'm emphasizing that I love basketball, right? Or basketball is the thing I love and I don't love football. If I put I love basketball, I'm emphasizing that I love it rather than hate basketball. You know what I'm saying? So whichever part of the sentence that you emphasize is the part that you're trying to create a contrasting idea for. And this is one method to destroy monotony, which we talked about before, because monotony is literally just it makes everything boring. No one can grasp onto your words and really enjoy whatever speech that you're trying to get out there. Now, you're also putting more power to the word when you emphasize it by changing the pitch. Really, that's all you're doing is just changing the pitch. Now, a lack of emphasis makes the subject boring. Like now, she said, I emphasize boring, which means if I'm emphasizing boring, that means that it's not going to make it fun because that's what I'm emphasizing. It's the idea that I'm emphasizing. So when you're thinking of emphasizing a certain word in your speech, it's because you're trying to do that based off of a contrasting idea. So that's just something to kind of work on when you're speaking, any type of public speaking, even when you're creating your content. It's just something to go back and look at. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, now I'm gonna start getting ready for bed, which I didn't get to finish all of my goals today, but I'm very happy to start those goals, next, right? So, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share this channel, comment below. And if you're listening to this on any type of podcast platform, 5-star reviews, leave a review. I love to read the reviews and obviously give you guys some type of feedback based off of that. I love your feedback. So keep killing the day. And just remember, you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.